Hey, this is Robert Jackson, and thank you so much for tuning into Station Square. Hope everybody is doing well out there. And this is technically our second, I don't know, take of our third interview with Anastasia Pioro. I hope
Yeah, yeah,
I'm.
you got it. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, so thank you so much for joining me today. And yeah, we did another recording, but the audio just kind of got a little messed up. But hey, second time's the charm, am I right?
100%.
Yeah, so I just want to thank you so much for joining me on this lovely afternoon. And yeah, I'm just so excited to do this with you for round three. Yeah,
Thanks,
which is
Robert. I'm really
crazy.
excited.
Yeah, I've never done this before, so this is going to be a lot of fun. I guess to start this off, how are you doing? How's the weather? Just how's life? Just talk to us.
Life's been good. Been a bit of a slow start in the beginning of the year, which was nice. I kind of had some time to just kind of chill for some time. And then our industry kind of picked up the last, like I'd say, month and a half. And otherwise, our weather today is horrible. It's raining a lot, but we are getting warmer in Toronto, which is nice. I know in LA you guys have spectacular weather 24/7, but not as Torontonians. We have a little bit different. But otherwise, no, everything's good. I'm just really enjoying where kind of life is taking me and doing a lot of social media stuff for myself, for other people. So it's been an interesting kind of time and kind of seeing where everything plays out.
Yeah, it's just kind of been a pretty crazy time for sure. I mean, politics, what's been going on around the world, it's just been absolutely bananas. But regardless, we're still here. You know what I mean? That's all that matters.
Oh, I agree, 100%.
So, yeah, I guess as our introduction, just catch us up to date with, just some recent stuff that you've been up to and just go through the list of everything that's been keeping you busy and productive throughout 2025 so far, because we're in April, which is insane
I know. Don't
already,
even, don't
man.
even, don't even remind me. You don't have to say it's April.
Yeah.
Basically, so at the end of the year of 2024, I finished on like a pretty high note. I was auditioning for the show here in Toronto and I was put on hold for a character, which I was really excited about. And the fun fact was the show, I think I auditioned for it about 5 times. And by the fifth time, they put me on hold and I was like, oh, finally, we're getting real close somewhere. So I didn't end up booking the part, but I was so excited to be on hold to like really kind of end it on like such a good note. And my agent was really happy as well. And then the new year started and I really wanted to kind of dive in this year into my social media. And I already have my YouTube channel, but I wanted to kind of really bump up the next level of like trying to really hit some milestones in my channel. So I hired like a YouTube marketing specialist and we've been in contact a lot, kind of dealing with my channel and just really honing in on like where I want to go with my Instagram and TikTok. So that's been an interesting time. And then I also got into a lot of my own social media managing for other Instagram accounts. So I was working for a couple of companies here and there, and I was managing their social media. So that was a lot of fun and a big learning curve as well.
Yeah. And how are you liking it? Like with the whole social media marketing, managing, and doing all of this stuff, because I think we were talking a little bit about it last time of how, having social media can be both a blessing and a curse. There's pros and cons, good and bad. So how would you say that this experience has been, very helpful when it comes to marketing and whatnot?
Um, I really loved it, to be honest, Robert. I never knew in a million years how much I'd actually enjoy social media and love social media. I always thought that I would only enjoy doing my own social media. And then when I started like editing other people's stuff, I realized how interesting it was for me to maybe even honestly have a career up as it as well. I can see myself doing social media and the acting at the same time because they kind of coincide. Like it's not that far off. And having that creative outlet gives me a chance that when the season is slow for us for actors, I have something else creative that I can do on the side, which is the social media. And I learn a lot about it too. Like there's a lot to go. It's marketing, it's analytics. And I'm sorry, this industry is also about marketing and analytics. So it's super important as well. So, yeah.
Oh, sorry about that. But yeah, it's just been, a crazy time with social media. Everybody's just kind of been, speaking have some very choice words about what's been, going on. I mean, with strike, like I said, politics, and it just gets pretty overwhelming just keeping up with everything. You know what I mean?
Yes, 1,000%. There's been a lot going on politically around the world, and it's a heavy time, but I think if you find something that really brings you joy and gives you a lot of like happiness and enjoyment, I think you need to focus on that because it does help a lot with the mental health.
Exactly, exactly. But yeah, I guess that's about, everything regarding your recent projects and endeavors.
Yeah, recent projects. Been auditioning for some really interesting stuff here. Been auditioning for some Vancouver stuff as well. I'm based in Toronto, so to be able to audition for Vancouver is pretty big for being a Toronto actor. So I'm excited. Haven't heard anything of in terms of booking yet, but I just feel like I feel in a really good spot. Like I'm happy where I'm at. I'm happy with the auditions I'm getting. I have a really great relationship with my agent, and like big shout out to him. So I just feel that I'm in like a good spot where I'm happy, I'm breezing, and I'm just excited to what the next chapter or the next project and like what it's going to be and where it's going to take me.
Exactly. And speaking of which, perfect segue into my first actual question here, which is, in your experience, what's the, I guess, technically, you can say ideal. I don't know if it's really ideal, but what would you say can make or break an actor agent relationship?
Oh, yes. So I've had many agent relationships, and all of them have all been, interestingly enough, different. I think it highly depends on the person as the actor and what you're looking for. Bottom line is, there's a few things that I find, no matter what type of relationship you have with your agent, there are a few things that I feel like are non-negotiable. First is being that your agent is not your boss. Your agent is not your employer, and you should never feel lesser than your agent. Like you should never walk away from a conversation or a meeting with your agent where you're like, they did not make me feel good. They made me feel actually quite small and quite insignificant. Like that should never be the case. So that's the number one thing. Like you and your agent are in a partnership. You are working together. So your agent should actually always lift you up and hype you up and help you to be better and guide you and tell you what is wrong, what is right. Like have constructive criticism. Like if you didn't do well on a self-tape, be able to explain it well where they're not bullying you, but they're just giving you feedback to help you get better. And open communication is really huge. I find that if you don't have an agent that doesn't want to have meetings with you or talk to you or anything, it's really hard to move forward because you're like, we're not getting anywhere. You're not listening to me. Nothing's happening. So being able to communicate with your agent freely is a big number one for me. And I preach that on my channel all the time with my subscribers. So yeah.
Yeah. So this kind of also, I I don't know if this is like the perfect segue, but I figured that I might as well just also discuss about the union, which actually goes into my second question here. How do I know if I should go union or non-union? Does it also apply to commercial, voiceover, just pretty much any bit of acting area that you dabble into?
I think definitely for us in Toronto, there is both union and non-union work in everything, whether it's commercial, voiceover, like gaming, TV shows, whatever, films, like it's all union or non-union. I think you always have to ask yourself, and I say this on my channel, what stage are you at in your career? If you were a beginner and you are fresh off the boat, I do not recommend you going straight into the union world. I recommend for you to doing non-union first, kind of getting your head wrapped around on how the industry works. And then once you feel like you're in a good space, then if the opportunity is given to you to go union, then I would. But it also depends on like what's your percentage of non-union auditions you're getting versus the union auditions. There are actors that I've met in my lifetime that never audition for union and all they do is non-union. So for them, it makes sense to maybe stay non-union for a little bit. But then there's been actors that I've met who've done so much union auditions where if they book something that's union, I think it's a great way for them to get into that and go union. The other thing is talk to your agent. You have an agent who's putting you up for these auditions and talk to them. Like, when is it time for me to go union, or where should I stay non-union? Your agent is in your corner and they will always guide you and coach you on what is the best scenario in making it work. There's agents that I've seen through my own friends that wanted to go union and the agent said, no, you're not ready for it yet. Let's stay non-union and then like circle back in 6 months. So if your agent is in your corner cheering you on, they will tell you when it is the right time.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, which is better, union or non-union?
Oh, Robert, that is such a hard question to answer. I honestly, look, if you want to be like a full-time actor and be on Netflix, be on like the TV networks, you will have to go union. Like that is the bottom line. There, you cannot avoid it. Now, if you want to continue creating your own work and doing short films and independent stuff and not have any strings attached, then your way would be to go the non-union route. So I really think it depends on what you're looking for and what kind of career do you want as an actor.
Yeah, because it could be pretty tricky trying to decide, oh, should I wait until yeah.
Yeah, it's a big decision. I'm not going to lie. It was a big decision when I made it, and I still, even 2 years after I made it, I was like, was this the right decision? Like, it's very normal to question it. It's very normal not like to feel confident in it and whatever. But you just have to ask your coach, ask your mentor, ask your agent, talk to your friends. Like, these are people that are in your community that you can find answers.
Yep, accountability, folks, accountability.
100%.
Yeah. And how do you stay in touch with people that you work with? It could be just anything, anybody, any client in general. So how often should you stay in touch with them?
When my own clients that I have, like, so this would be like the clients that I do consultation sessions with, that I kind of help them start their packages or stuff like that. Yes,
Also
go ahead.
with the clients that you work with, just on various projects. It could be people that hire you, or you're working with consultations for students, actors, just anybody. Anyone can count. I know it's a very broad question, but yeah.
No, 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 I'll do a little kind of like, I'll go into every direction for
Yeah,
relationships.
just do a little, yeah.
Little check mark on all. So
Check mark.
consultations, I like to sort of stay in touch. I like check in maybe every 2 to 6 months. I think it depends on what we discussed. If the actor was looking to like get new headshots and apply to agencies, I will usually give them a longer time. Then I check in because that stuff takes time. Like you're not getting headshots tomorrow and then the day after you're signed by an agency. Like that needs a couple of months of planning and working. So I think that depends on what I'm working with the client. In terms of my own relationship with my agent, for example, depends on the agent. I like to check in about once a month with the agent that I have now. And then it works for me, it works for him, and it's great. And we just have a quick little phone call, quick chat about the industry, how life is, like what we're both up to, what he's up to with the agency, what I'm up to with my own stuff. So that's how I do that. And then in terms of projects, I think it depends on what the project was and how you ended with the project. Like, if there was something that they said, hey, let's touch base in a couple months, I might have something brewing that I think you'd be good for. Like, that is something that I think in a couple months you can touch base with. A year might be good. So I think you just have to gauge it depending on what it was.
Yeah. I think it's also kind of, and I know there's another question that I have pertaining to something else about checking in or just updating or keeping up to date. But as far as this next question is concerned, let me see. Okay, here we go. So, how does your contract work? What are the terms? So, when should you speak up? And this kind of goes back into having a relationship, with the actor agent. This kind of goes piggybacks off to the first question here. So when should you speak up when you're discussing legal matters that makes you a bit uncomfortable, or if anything seems off or fishy during the whole, paperwork signing process, or just anything in general? Like when
Mhm,
should you speak up if something is, yeah, just kind of gives you just the it, just
mhm,
ew, ugh, just the
100%.
shivers.
Well, first of all, I'm going to say this. If you are in a room with an agent and your agent is forcing you to sign a contract right away, that's a big no-no. No agent should ever force you to sign a contract immediately. Like it should be given to you and you tell them, I'm going to take a couple days to review it. You always read the contract. You read every single word, every single fine print. If you're in a room and that agent wants you to sign right now, I'm going to probably tell you to not go with that agent because there should be no reason why you have to sign immediately without getting a chance to read through it, think about it. And I'm not saying that you have to sign it within 24 hours. Like When I signed with my agents, I always take a few days. I take sometimes even 7 days. I go home, I let the excitement of, you just had a meeting with an agent, you're so excited. Like I take some time for myself and then I will then read through it. Now, if you feel that there's something in your contract that you're like, I don't agree with, or I don't understand, or I need clarity, ask right away, shoot an email, get on the phone and just be like, hey, would love to get some clarity and understanding on section A about blah, blah, blah. There's nothing wrong with asking questions. There's nothing wrong with checking in and finding like, oh, how does this work and why is this and why is that? An agent will be happy to explain to you about their contract and what goes on.
Yeah, because as an actor, you gotta know if something's not clicking right with you, you just gotta let them know. Just being honest and being, kind of blunt, per
Yeah.
se. But yeah, it can really go a long way.
You can't, it's the same thing like when you're starting a 9 to 5 job. You can't take the contract, sign it, and then 6 months later read through it and realize that there's something in the contract you didn't agree with. I don't know how well that's going to go with HR when you're bringing it up to them, right? So it's kind of the same thing when you're with an agent. Like you have to make sure that you know what you're signing, and you can't show up a year later being like, I actually don't agree with half the stuff that's in your contract. Most likely your agent's going to be like, okay, well then don't be on my roster if you realize this now, right? So always know what you're signing and read through it immediately. And if there's something that you don't agree with or you don't understand, you talk about it within that moment and you don't be afraid to ask questions.
And is it required to get new headshots once you're signed with an agent?
I think that depends on what your headshots are at. Like if you sign with an agent and they're kind of a bit older headshots, your agent may say, "Hey, let's start you off with a new foot in the door, like being on my roster. Let's get some new headshots." And they can recommend headshot photographers. It's not like 100% required. But if you're already signing with an agent and you've recently just got your headshots done, most likely your agent's not going to get ask you to get new headshots done when these are only a few months old. If they're good and they like them, they're not going to ask you to do it. They like I said, if they're 3 years old and you got signed, they may say, let's touch up the headshots, but it's nowhere near where it's like it's a requirement. And if you don't get the new headshots done, then your agent's not going to take you. No.
Yeah. And I know when it comes to updating your stuff, like whether it's headshot, website, just updating just anything about yourself. And because I know with the industry, and I think you also already know this because after working in it for so long, there is so much stuff happening, so many changes with like, technology, locations and how auditions are being done and made, self-tape. There's just a lot that goes into it. And that's like a beast all in and of itself. It could be make an entire video all on its own. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%. There's a lot that goes on there. So you just always want to be up to date and understanding of what the game is and how to play the game. So, yeah.
Hmm. So, if you do go union, will you be able to continue long standing or like any non-union roles that you've already signed on to before you join?
Yeah, I mean, if you already have things signed of like anything non-union, yes, 100%, like you would most likely be able to finish them. Now, I guess again, you'd have to check with your agent and also what area you're in. Like, are you in Toronto, are you Vancouver, are you LA, New York? So I'd always check in to see what is the situation in the city that you're in the jurisdiction that you're playing. But one thing to note is like once you go union, you cannot audition for non-union projects and you can't take on non-union projects once you are union. So that is something to keep in mind when you become union.
Mhm. And is it also a good idea? Like, is it wise to use a fake name to continue working on non-union projects or no?
No, I don't recommend that because, like I said,
Yeah.
if you're union and if they find out that you are still doing non-union projects, not only are you going to get in issues with the union, you most likely will lose your union status and not be allowed in the union. And on top of it, you're already creating issues with your agent. Your agent might not want to deal with it, and then issues with casting. Like it's just a complete like turmoil from there. I don't recommend it. I don't think it's a good idea. I think that if you choose to go union, then you are union. And if you want to stay non-union, then you stay non-union. Don't get involved with fake names or this or that. Like I wouldn't go down that route.
Great. So, do you have any book or website suggestions or recommendations concerning when it comes to this whole SAG-AFTRA stuff? Or just
Definitely, I mean, always check. Like for us with ACTRA always is sending out newsletters on email about what goes on in the industry, whether it's with the American side or the Canadian side. So for us, ACTRA is a great website to kind of check in to see up to dates and what's going on. And I would assume that SAG would do the same thing. So always check the SAG website. I think that's highly important as well to see what is going on. So yeah.
yeah, and it just applies to acting and just pretty much anything in the industry, period.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So, how can acting without an agent in the industry affect you in the short or long term? In the long. Yeah.
I think it's one of those things where so the long term wise, if you're looking to have a full-time career as an actor, long term wise, you're not gonna be able to get into the union stuff. And there's auditions that you cannot get into unless you have an agent. So you will come to a point where you kind of hit a stop and you're like, well, there's nowhere I can go forward. So I need to find something else. So having an agent, if you want to do this full time like career, you will need the agent. So long term, it will hurt you. But short term, if you are able to find your own work, you're able to do your non-union stuff, non-union indies, whatever, then it will not hurt because can do whatever you want. There's no strings attached. There's no one holding you. You're able to just do, say, and play however you want to play it. And that can work really well. And if you also just want to do this as like a hobby on the side, like you're not looking to really make a full-time living out of it, then short term, not having an agent will not hurt you at all. But if you want to have a career, you will not be able to, like, you will need an agent to go to the next level.
Exactly. So, I know we just discussed social media like in previous episodes, but say if you're already working with an agent or just being in the industry for a while, how would you say that having a presence can really make or break, your career in a way?
I think it depends at the end of the day, like how you present yourself on social media. Definitely me having my social media, like, look, I have to always be careful of what I say and how I say it. I talk about acting, right? And I need to understand that what I put out there has to be accurate, fact-checked information. I'm teaching people and showing people how to go this direction or that direction. So I want to make sure that a lot of my what I'm saying makes sense and it points people to the right direction. So I have to always be careful of how I word things, how I say things. But at the same time, having my social media presence has gotten me to opportunities like, for example, like this one. If I didn't have a social media presence, you would have never found me, would have never asked me to do an interview, right? So it's one of those things where like some of my stuff and my videos and whatever has gotten me some really interesting meetings, some really interesting opportunities. And so that does help me in what I do as well.
Yeah. I mean, like, you'd be surprised at just how much getting your name out there can just go such a long way.
I totally agree.
And like you said, if it wasn't for YouTube, I don't think I wouldn't have even found your stuff. Or just even without YouTube, I don't think I would have, or TikTok or any of this other stuff that we've been kind of, talking about for like what, uh, the last three or so interviews that we've done. And it's just kind of like, man, you just never know where this crazy career can take you, man. You just never
100%.
know.
It's so true.
Yeah, but speaking of podcasts, have you considered doing one of your own?
Yes. It's so funny that you say that. I actually pitched a podcast idea to CBC here. I haven't heard back. So I'm kind of thinking of taking this on my own way, and I'm looking for production companies that would want to produce it. So I'm on the hunt for that right now. So if anyone has a production company and they're listening to this, you know where to find me. But yeah, so I'm hoping that by the summer I might actually be able to start recording a couple of stuff and maybe have it be out there online. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll probably see it come to life someday. Hey,
Yeah,
just,
excited.
you know who to look for if
Yeah,
anybody's listening. Yeah.
I love
But
it.
but yeah, so what is something that is like, I don't think I've also asked this last time, but any what are some hobbies that you've kind of been partaking in, outside of all this stuff that you've been doing for work and business and whatnot.
Hobbies. Oh my gosh, this is so fun. So I love to dance. Dance is something really important to me. I was a dancer like my whole life. So for me, dance is really important. So whether that be dance class or I kid you not, I love to go do some salsa dancing at like a salsa club here in Toronto. It sounds kind of funny, but yeah, dancing is a big thing. I also I'm a big foodie. So when there's new stuff happening in Toronto, new burgers, like new ramen or sushi. I'm like, I'm in. I'm like, we got to go check this restaurant out. We got to go check this like food truck or whatever. So I'm a big foodie girl. So that's really huge for me. I love spending time with my fiance. We kind of have the same like hobbies and what we love. We're actually currently planning our engagement party, so there's so much work that goes into
Oh,
that.
congrats.
Thank
Oh
you.
my
Yeah,
gosh, I'm so
so
excited.
thank you.
I'm
Yeah, so
happy for you.
it's been a good time. And honestly, just exploring the city. I'm always like just finding new stuff, finding new things that what goes on, new events. I'm just try to I'm a Gemini and I'm an extrovert. So anytime I hear that there's something fun going on, I'm like, count me in, I'm there.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, what would you say are kind of like the fun parts and even some of the most challenging parts of maintaining this career, just as a professional actor, actress, or just anything that you pursue in this journey?
Um, you have to remember that this industry is really different now, and I say this a lot on my channel. We This is not the 2000s where you can run around with your Starbucks in one hand and your script in the other and or your sides, whatever it is, and you go to 10 auditions in one day and booking is much easier. It's not the case. Like in Toronto, in-person auditions are like slim to none. So most of them are always self-tapes. No, so what happens is there's more people auditioning, but it's harder to book. So this industry has changed and it's going through a lot of changes, and you have to be understanding of what the changes are. And you have to play the game, whether you want to or like if you want to be in this industry and if you agree with it or not, you got to play the game and you need to know how to play the game. And you have to honestly like you got to live your life. Like I hear so many actors that are like, I'm never going to take a vacation because I can miss a big opportunity. I heard an agent one time say they were in an industry panel and I was listening to him and he said, always tell my clients, book a flight, book a job. And it is so, so true. The minute you let yourself go and you do your thing, the industry will come to you. You have to kind of your work, like life is art and art is life. So the minute you go out there, explore yourself, connect with yourself, understand yourself, you're going to come back bigger and better in the work that you are doing. So if you wanted to travel through 3 months, please go and travel. I'm telling you, you're going to come back a stronger and better actor than you did prior to those 3 months. You want to take a break? Take that break. Like, don't listen to what other people are doing. Listen to yourself and your body and what your mind is telling you. That's the most important. You're not going to miss anything. Like, this industry is not going anywhere, Robert. You know what I mean? Like, movies are always going to be made, TV shows are always going to be made. You're not going to miss anything if you take a year or 6 months or 2 years off. So,
Yeah. So how would you say, because you also do voiceovers, what would you say is kind of different, or what's more, your bread and butter? Like, because I know you mentioned that you do voice acting just when we were kind of talking a little bit, but you also do stage theater on camera. So how would you say it's a different world than, when you're on camera per se?
I mean, when you're doing voice acting, your face is never shown. So you really have to
Yeah.
be able to work through your voice and showing the emotion. There's no face to show your emotion. So people need to fully feel everything through your voice. So there's a lot more power coming through your breath work, through all of that. So that's really could be a challenging thing if people don't know how to use their breath, don't know how to, kind of get that going. So it is interesting, but it could also be a lot of fun. Like you could really play with a lot of interesting stuff when you do voice work. And so I recommend as an actor, like Do it all, try it all. There's actors who end up loving voice work more than commercial TV and film and go really far in voice work. And vice versa, there's actors who do it and they're like, no, not for me. I am not even gonna go near it. And so they never do voice work. So I think when you're an actor, just try everything. Like build your caliber and see what makes you a great actor and what you feel resonated to when you're doing your acting.
Yeah, and also just exercising or working out, going outside and seeing,
Yeah.
because I know you also like going to these festivals and whatnot. So I think that is also something that can add to the experience and
Yes, yeah.
also just really help you recharge and just, you know, detox or distress
Yeah, 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 you
aside
have
from all the
to.
acting. Yeah. I don't
We're
think
in
that's something that's been so, yeah.
No, I
Sorry.
mean, I was just gonna say we're in a tough industry. Like this industry is not easy. You are graded, sorry, not graded, but like you're judged by your weight, by your face, by your hair color, by everything. Like you're completely from head to toe always looked at. You're analyzed with everything. And so this industry can be really hard on your mental health. So yeah, you gotta de-stress. Go for a run, go for a walk, have some vitamin D, call your friends. Like you gotta do what is your way to de-stress? Always have it in your lifestyle when it comes to being in this industry.
Yeah. So, what would you want to leave or just share anything that, what you're doing right now? What would you want, your audience or anybody that, knows who you are? What would you want to leave them with as far as legacy or just remembrance of what would you like if there was like all of us are brought here to have a something that we want to do and pursue or just have anything that can inspire others. What would you want to leave with and leave others around you, like if you were to, I don't know, go or something? What would you want your legacy to be? That's my question.
Definitely, I would say that please remember that no one's ever going to validate you unless it's yourself. You are the only person that will be able to validate you, your confidence, your work, your everything. And if you do not feel good about yourself, no agent, no casting director, no producer, no one will be able to tell you that you are good. You need to believe it, feel it within yourself, because I'm telling you that the minute you shift your mind into that mindset, things, doors, windows, whatever you think will open up, and it's going to be really good time. And this is kind of something I learned for myself, but this industry is a crazy, crazy roller coaster. You will have great times and you're going to have the lowest of your lows, but it's all about the journey. It's all about the growth and the experience and learning from it. So then the next time you're on the next crazy roller coaster, per se, you know what to expect and you know how to move forward.
Yep, amen to that. So, if you'd like to plug in your socials, farewell, just any last thoughts, that would be great.
No, I'm really excited to be here again and doing this. And I hope everyone's having a good year and a good day and lots of hugs and smiles for everyone. It's been tough and, I'm right there with you. So yeah.
Same. And look, we're wearing blue. I mean, not really because I have shades of pink, but you know what? I think you kind of have on a little shade of pink. So let's
Yeah,
see. Yeah.
I have a little strawberry and my microphone is pink. So yeah, so we have your brand and my brand put in together. I love it.
Yeah. And I also kind of like, oh, can you bring the camera down a bit? Because I like all the
Yeah,
little, yeah.
I have a little pink here going on too.
Yeah, fruit.
Little fruit there going on.
Yeah, we just love fruit themes.
Yeah, it's so
It's always
true.
nice. Yeah, so what would you like to do the outro for? I mean, you could just say Anastasia Pioro, I do at YouTube, and this is Station. That's pretty much the outro that I do for this show. Whenever you're
Yeah,
ready.
I would just say Anastasia Pioro. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is Anastasia. This is Rob. Oh, let me do this. Hold up. Yeah, there we are. So yeah, I'm Robert Jackson. This is Anastasia Pioro. This is Station Square Podcast. Thank you for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. So until then, have a good day. That's my closing outro. Anyways, bye.
Peace.
Bye bye. Okay, so outro, take it away.
Hey everyone, this is Anastasia Pioro on the Station Square podcast with Robert, and I'm a Toronto actor and YouTuber, and I'm excited to be here.
Hey, we did it! Woo! And where can people check you out? What the, you know,
Look up my
pro-
name, Anastasia Pioro, on YouTube. I have all my fun stuff on there, and projects are kind of all over the place. I also have my website, which is my name, Anastasia Pioro, so you can check me all out on there.
yep. And for me, I'm everywhere too. I have a website, socials. Just you probably know where to find me. I mean, YouTube, all that good jazz. But yeah, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time and just chatting with me. I know we've had to do like a couple of like, do-overs, tech issues, man.
I love it. No, but this is perfect. It worked out so nice.
Yeah, it ain't a podcast without some technical difficulties,
100%.
But yeah, let me adjust this. Yeah, but thank you so much for watching. Stick around next time on Station Square. This is Robert Jackson and Anastasia Pioro, and until next time, stay awesome, stay perky, and yeah, keep on shining out there. Kick every day in the face, or no, punch every day in the face. Thank you, Brad Storm, and yeah, go get it. Take care. Love y'all. Bye. Bye bye. Yay.
I love that. That was an awesome outro.
Oh, thanks. Thanks so much. But anyway, yeah. Later.